So this is the number 3 in the practice with the unit circle. Um, the the terminology being used, I can understand where your question is, because it sounds different. It's stated as if the terminal point determined by t is this point p of ab, then blah, right? So the thing is, on the unit circle, radius 1, right? The radius is 1. If I think of an angle t, or if I think of an arc length, remember from section, the very first thing we did, 6.1, the arc length is equal to the radius times the angle. Well, if the angle is t and the radius is 1, then the arc length and the angle are the same. So there's the question of, are we talking about the angle or are we talking about the length of the arc? Now in chapter 5, they view it as talking about the arc. From chapter 6, we view it more as the angle, but I'm on the unit circle, so it doesn't matter. What they're saying is either you have an angle t in standard position and you look at where is the terminal side hitting the unit circle, or they're looking at an arc starting right here and the end of it, the terminal piece of that arc, is at the point AB. Either way, either the angle is stopping there or the arc is stopping there. Because you're on the unit circle, they're the same. If this is an angle of 4 radians, then this is an arc of length 4. This is pi over 2 radians, and that's a length of pi over 2. Right? Whatever this number is, it's the same length. The radian measure and the length measure are the same because the radius is 1. So, part A of this problem asks you to find the point determined by pi minus t. So, again, if you think in terms of angles, an angle of pi would be this, and then you're going to back up whatever that angle t is. So this angle of t going backwards. Well, what are the coordinates of this point? Well, it looks to me like if you're turning through an angle of t up from here, up from there, you're symmetric about the y-axis. So it looks like the y-coordinate should be the same, but the x-coordinate is negative. Maybe this is negative ab. Right? So the answers here would be x is negative a and y is b. Part B, all right, sorry, before I move to part B, I'm thinking of this as angles. The way the book is wording it is in terms of arcs. So they're saying if you go through an arc of pi, so 3.1415 would get you all the way over to here, and then you back up by whatever this arc length t was, it gets you back up to there. Are you doing an arc or are you doing an angle? The answer is, it doesn't matter because, well, you're on a unit circle and the arc length and the angle are the same. Okay. I like to think of it in terms of angle. To me, trig is about angles. You're plugging angles into trig functions. You're not putting arcs into trig functions. But anyway, so now part B, they want you to look at negative t. Well, if this is t going this way, then negative t is coming down there, and that looks like you just reflected across the x-axis. So the x-coordinate is the same, but the y-coordinate is negative. So the a stays the same, and the y becomes a negative b. So a comma negative b. Part C, what are we doing? T plus pi, sorry, pi plus t. So you first turn through pi, and then you turn through t again here. So you've gone a total of pi plus t. What are the coordinates of the point here? Well, it looks like we're at minus a minus b at that point. We've turned all the way around from t. Actually, that's interesting. I think of it as pi, I explained it as pi plus t, but you could think of it as t plus pi. And that way you can see you are pointing in exactly the opposite direction of t. If t is looking this way, then t plus pi is looking that way, and you're at exactly the negative spot, minus a minus b, on your unit circle. And lastly, D. What does D ask for? The terminal point determined by 2 pi plus t. Sorry, this was pi plus t, and this is 2 pi plus t. Well, 2 pi is all the way around once, And if you add t, well, heck, you're in the same place as you started from. So, okay, well, then we ended up at AB. So I hear you on the wording. They're talking arc length, and we're talking angles. But you're on the unit circle, so it's the same. Think of it either way. All right, if you still have questions on that, please ask them, and I will see if I can explain some more. Thanks.